Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dasha, and in this video I tried to challenge myself a little. For 7 days I was trying to draw animals. The first sketches I shown you where the chickens are, I drew this a while back and I didn't film this process because I was really scared that it will come out muddy and not good. So this is my first try, and then I decided I need to do a little challenge for myself. So I decided that whenever I encounter some animals along the way in this week, I will film it, and then after that I will be drawing that animals, but I need to use a lot of different colors that this animal doesn't usually have. All the materials I will be using in this video, I will just write the text down below of the sketch so you will see what I'm using. The first two sketches, the mouse and the snake one, was also most of them the experiments, so I didn't film much of the process, and later I just committed to film everything, even though that in some of them I was struggling a lot, and I tried to save them, but I don't know if I was successful with all of them. This snake also didn't come out the way I was wanting it to go, and in the end I think I really messed up this glass or jar, if you want to call it like that, and I really put these highlights in really awkward spaces, so I don't really like that because I wanted the snake to kind of, you can see the body is touching the glass, and it's, you know, kind of this little color, how do you say it, hues that are lighter to dark, and I don't think I really executed this snake good. I really wanted to try to draw it again. Now we are on the day 3 and I decided to draw some snails. I actually did these snails for my art project in school, and then I decided they are really cute and funky, and I wanted to try to draw them myself in my sketchbook. So I just grabbed these little figurines and put them beside me when I was drawing, and then the inspiration came, and I also used the similar colors that I use for the sculptures itself. And then after that I just added a little of splotches of red, purple, green, whatever it comes to mind, and just put it on the page. For this time around, for this week, I was approaching this a little differently. I was just putting down with the pencil the sketch, a little quick sketch, and then I use these watercolors, Van Gogh watercolors that actually lift up, so I stopped using them because I couldn't do the layers and it was really bothering me. So I was just using that for this sketchbook, I don't know why. And then on top of it I used colored pencil and Posca pen markers at the end for the highlights, and I think these results came out really beautifully. For this picture of snail, I think in the end I was missing something, so I just put a darker blue and red color around the two snails, and at the end I just used a reverse color palette, and I used for the stars the black Posca pen marker because I wanted to create some mystical, mysterious vibe and experience. For day 4, I was greeted by the little bee on the window, and I took a picture, and later that day when I was on the bus to my school, a little ladybug actually came flying towards my head and bumped into my forehead, and I was so shocked and I was so frightened that this all of a sudden happened. So I just snapped a picture of it, and you can see here on the video. And I really like to draw my little ladybugs like they have kind of 4 wings, you know, the little wings with the white dots, and then beneath it a little black wings for, you know, transparency and depth. Because I don't know, someday I just started to draw them like that, and I really like the result, so this is how I draw them. For each animal I have slightly different approach. In some of them I just use the line art first in my fine liners, which are waterproof, and my watercolors that I use the Van Gogh watercolors that are also waterproof, which is really important to me because in this case, in a lot of these animals, I actually use colors. I actually use water on top of the color pencils, so it's important that they don't bleed underneath, because this happens to me many times before, and it was not a pleasant surprise when you discover that your colored pencils are not waterproof. So keep that in mind, and it's a really good practice to just know your materials better. On day 5, I looked through the window and I saw these cute kitties that are playing in the grass, and I was thinking that I really wanted to draw a cat, and that's why I decided to do it with a little twist. In the end, you will see that I used the red colors for his entire body and then shaded it with a little purple color, deep purple color, and I think it came out pretty good, and I really like this concept. When I do the finished piece with watercolors or inks, I usually do this method of approach. When I'm drawing, that I only use the black fine liner first on top of the pencil and then erase the pencil and do a little layers of the base colors, so I know which color will be where. And then after that I just use the shadows and just a little transparent layers just to build up the colors, that they are more rich, more vibrant, and I usually go from light to dark. But in some cases that I was experimenting before, I just put down firstly the shadows and then just put another layer, the flat layer of color on top, and it automatically shows the depth in this piece. And on top of it, I actually lately use the Posca pen markers or any kind of marker that go on top of the paper, on top of the other materials that soak into paper. So if you know, the first step was to use the colors that go into the paper, and then on the end, when you want to finish the piece, you put the materials that go on top of the pencils, on top of the paper, sorry, like colored pencils, you know, pens, and you know, different kind of white highlights or any kind of highlights you want. The next day I was just inspired by turtles. I didn't see any turtles actually, but I really wanted to draw one, so I just started to sketch, and this thought came really quickly in my head, and I just thought, what if this shell that this turtle is in was kind of mosaic-like structure, and this turtle is kind of accessory, like, you know, little garden that is walking around. And that's why I decided to put on them these little white flowers, and they are little square-like shapes because I really wanted to portray that this is the mosaic, not the actual flowers that are growing in the garden. With this turtle I was struggling the most. You can see here that I was coloring over and over it again with colors, and then I tried in the end to darken the shell, and after that I just used the black colors because I didn't know how to darken the areas that needs to pop out. And in the end I think it came out okay, but I'm not in love with it, and maybe in the future I can recreate this turtle. Let me know if you want to see the recreation some of these animals, and yeah. And for the last day of this week, I was going for a really long walk, and then I saw this beautiful river and its colors, that it was green, bluish, turquoise. Then I saw little fish inside, and I decided to just draw a little stingray, but I want to put on it a little pattern, and I decided to color it pink, and on top of it I just used this also squarish like pattern, and I colored it with green and blue because it's kind of on a different place of the color wheel, and it brings out this contrast really well. And in the end I just used the Posca pen markers in the lightest colors, which was in yellow and blue, light blue, and I think it really glow up in the end, and I think this is one of my favorites paintings this week, and I'm really pleased with how everything was drawn and created, and I think I will do this maybe in a few months, or maybe just one animal at a time and put a lot of little details in it, or maybe put it in the environment or something like that. If you have any suggestions, you can just write it down and I will look it up and I can draw that. Let me know which animals was your favorite, and mine is definitely the stingray, or maybe the cat because it's the red cat, not the usual gray, black, white or any other colors, but I think they're all pretty good. Thank you for watching, stay joyful, and I'll see you in my next video.